So growing up, did your parents ever tell you to stay away from swamps in the woods when you're by yourself? Because now that I got your attention with this cute baby goat, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me when I was out in the woods by myself when I was a little kid. The story actually takes place when I was a little kid, and it was me and my family, and we went camping in the Appalachian Mountain. Now, mind you, my parents always told us to stay away from this swamp because it was just unsafe in general, and you could literally fall in and sink up to your neck and possibly drown. Here's them together, by the way. But okay, back to me. I was being my typical self where I was catching animals and stuff and snakes down at the lake, and I decided to go take a little adventure over to this swamp. And I actually got a thrill out of my parents telling me to stay away from it because I was a little rebel child. I remember going through the woods and I started hearing this weird noise. It almost sounded like when you're a kid and you don't understand that a mountain lion sounds like a woman screaming for her life in the middle of the mountains. It sounded almost like that, but it was definitely more of like a deeper, growling kind of scream. At that age, you would think a little kid would turn around and run, but like I said, I was always looking for trouble, so I decided to go even further towards this swamp. As I followed the noise, I start coming across these tracks in the ground that were like, I can't explain it. They just were not human-like, but they were almost like, I can't explain it. They weren't human, but they were almost like a dog or like a deer. Kind of like if deer hooves had paw prints mixed in it. But at that point I was hooked, so I decided to follow these tracks through the brush over to the swamp. And I remember swiping away the leaves to enter the swamp, and this is what I saw. All I can tell you is I've seen some weird animals in my life, but I have never in my life seen something that was kind of like a deer, but like not a deer. All I can say is that this thing was really tall. It was drinking water out of the swamp, and then when it noticed me and it picked up its head, this thing was really tall, and it just had this like a kind of like a gremlin, like goat face. It had that weird face, but it also had typical deer antlers as well. All I can tell you is that when it noticed me and we locked eyes, this thing just did this really creepy, like almost like a smile per se. When this thing smiled, it had like really sharp teeth, almost like a wolf or something. And that was when I turned around and I booked it through the woods. As I'm running and screaming on the way back to my parents, you can literally hear the sound of footsteps behind me, like this thing was catching up to me. I literally was running and screaming all the way back to our campsite, and my parents finally found me and they were trying to calm me down. Until this day, they will never believe me when I told them what it was. But if you guys have any similar experiences, please put them down in the comments and follow for more scary stories of my life.